what you sent me was the icing on the already delicious cake that is Batman 1989.
Oof.
I don't understand. Bat dance. Prince.
Oh my god.
First of all, is this how is this considered? How do I put this? He doesn't
go there.
He doesn't really sing. Why is this? How I don't. He just uses clips from the movie, and then he says, "Wake the funk up," and I don't know what he was saying, and I was like, "This is YouTube." My God, the outfit that he wears, I want to be that. I want that.
Who's he?
We mean Prince. The guy.
In the music video?
Yes.
You're so focused on this music video. I didn't prepare notes for the Prince Batman music video.
Just remember it. Oh my God. He's half Batman. He's half Joker. So awesome.
Oh my gee.
So anyway, next year's Halloween costumes. That's what we're being. Done.
Sisters who've seen it. We are the sisters who've seen it. Sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, sisters who've seen it.
All right. It's like Linda from Bob's Burgers. Welcome, listeners. We are the Sisters Who've Seen It, the podcast where two sisters who are not movie critics look back on some of our favorites throughout the years through a psychological, ethical, and familial lens. I'm Katie.
I'm Bridget.
And we're here. We're here now.
We're here.
Here.
This is us.
We are.
Batman.
Oh, man. Well, yep, let's just introduce the movie because it's just
we blew the cover. We ruined
Spoilers.
it. So this was picked for you. Therefore, I think you should introduce the movie.
It's just so amazing. The movie this week is Batman. But not just the other Batmans. What am I saying? It's the OG. The original.
What year?
1989.
Ooh!
Yeah, baby. Which I wonder, actually, if there probably was another Batman movie before this, because he's been a character for a long time.
It was like a 60s campy Batman.
Yes.
So remember the,
Adam West.
pow! Ba-wham! Whammo! And so this was like a wild take on it.
I loved it, though.
Oof.
It was so good.
Oof.
I feel like this definitely changed the image of him, because even though he was this comic book character that obviously some people knew from that aspect, like you said, that 60s show, it was so cheesy that I don't think people thought of him or even superheroes for a while in this way. And this movie really painted him as like intimidating.
I mean, Tim Burton always puts a dark lens on every movie.
Sure does.
If you would have asked me before this, who directed the 1989 Batman film, I'd be like, no idea. Now, I'm gonna loud and proud be like, Tim Burton!
He did the sequel to this, too.
Yes!
He did one more.
Yeah.
But you can so tell when you watch it, because it's just it's got his fingerprints all over it.
So good.
All right, so I'll summarize it first, and then you can give me your take on it. You know, in this movie, Batman is not a public figure yet. He's like this rumor, and the police don't know if he's real, and the press is trying to figure out if he exists, and all that jazz. But you get introduced to him pretty quickly in the movie, and he basically beats up some bad guys, and then he tells a bad guy, like, hey, go tell your friends about me. I'm like, all right, Batman, just take out an ad in the newspaper. I don't get
That was the first Batman voice impersonation.
It's just, yeah. He didn't really make it as weird as Christian Bale did, so that's good.
Do you know whose idea it was? to have the Bat voice?
No.
Michael Keaton.
Oh, blessed.
He felt like that was a part of the character, and I read it in the fun facts, because I like looking those up.
It's interesting. There was a long cartoon series about Batman. There's been a couple, but the one I remember was Batman the Animated Series, and it was a pretty serious one, even though it was a cartoon. It had adult storylines and all that stuff. But in that, he didn't have a different voice. So the character of Bruce Wayne in that would talk exactly the same as the superhero. And I thought it was weird because, if you know someone, I feel like you would recognize their voice even though they're wearing a mask. So I do appreciate that in the movies they tried to change it. Anywho, okay, so, you get introduced to Batman, you're like, oh, we don't know who could it be? We don't know. And the police are still kind of not sure if he exists. And then you get introduced to a bunch of different characters. You get introduced to Jack Napier, the guy who then becomes the Joker. So I'm just going to call him Joker the whole time. So everybody just remember that. There'll be a quiz later. And then you get introduced to Vicky and some of the police people. But honestly, the police people are not... They're just there. I don't know.
It's like the commissioner, the press guy. It's random.
They don't have much development. But, the Joker, he's involved with crime and he's kind of screwing over some of his buddies. And then eventually it leads to him trying to do like an insurance scam of some sort. But it goes awry and the police come and there's one cop that was working with him and then double crosses him, and then, he falls into a vat of acid, and Batman's kind of to blame.
What?
So,
I'm gonna edit that summary when I talk.
Well, hold on. I think I'm going a little out of order. So that was kind of the...
She didn't watch it. She didn't watch it, ladies and gentlemen.
I did. That was the Joker plotline, but let's get... That's rewind. And then there's Vicky. Vicky kind of... She just appears in
we'll talk about that.
At a newspaper. What do you call that? A newspaper place? What is that?
An office?
A newspaper office? A newsroom? Like, what is the term? I don't know.
It's just the office
where they print newspapers? The newspaper printing office?
They have to write it, and she does the photography, and someone has to do the layout.
But she just appears. She doesn't work there. She just shows up, and it's like, hey, now I work here. And I'm like, where's HR? Is she on payroll? Who's getting the health insurance? I have questions. But it's fine. So she kind of inserts herself into the plot. She wants to find Batman. She goes in this big party at Bruce Wayne's house, and she and the other newspaper guy whose name don't care, whatever, he was annoying. Idea. They meet Bruce, and then Bruce is kind of sketchy, and so she kind of starts to think something's up. So then, so we did the Joker part. Then Bruce and Vicky go on a date, and then they start kind of seeing each other, and she's like... really interested, but because he's Batman, he's trying to keep away. So there's a lot of that. And then, eventually when the Joker actually becomes Joker, he really just goes crazy and kind of takes over the town. He murders the guy who double-crossed him. He murders other random people. It's all very random, which is pretty aligned with the Joker that I think most people know. So that was good. Everything with him was good.
Yes.
And anyway, so then he, Batman gets in his way and he's trying to ruin everything, and Batman basically thwarts him, all while Vicky is... Oh, Vicky. We gotta talk about her later. I'm worried about Vicky.
Oh, I know. No,
I'm worried about her.
We have to spend at least 8 minutes on Vicky. I have lots of notes.
Oh,
so what's the ending?
So that's basically it. And then, Batman comes out on top, and then he's a little more accepted by the police. So that wasn't very short.
That was not short. I was just going to tell you that is the opposite of short.
Brevity is not my strength.
The only things I would add is the Joker also fell in love with Vicky Vale.
Do you think that was love, though, or was it
something gross? He's crazy. Yeah, he's crazy. So I would tell the story that The thing is, you're in this town, Gotham City. You don't really know what era it is.
Yeah.
But there's a dark cast, and there always seems to be steam coming out of a pothole in the background of every scene. And there's crime. And they're trying to get ready for the 200th anniversary where they're going to throw this festival. And so crime is trying to stop. And that's where Batman comes in. He's trying to solve all these little crime issues. And you're right. No one knows who he is. He's weirdly making a name for himself. Like, that is a great line of, hey, tell your friends I'm Batman. Just like, okay.
Batman,
cool guerrilla marketing, bro.
I don't understand.
If only Batman had Twitter.
There's
am I right?
other ways. Like, he's so rich. I don't get it.
He's so rich, he has a whole cave. Like a literal cave. But he doesn't know how to use marketing to tell people about Batman. Anywho. So you're right. He somehow is always there to fix it. And we learn later it's driven from the fact that his parents were murdered in front of him.
Yeah.
And he, was horrified by this experience, and he never wanted anyone to deal with it. And so he's always trying to fight the vigilantes, or him himself. And he hears about, a tip that they're going to this chemical warehouse, and that's where he meets the Joker. The Joker's bad. Makes the Joker who the Joker is by falling into the vat of chemicals.
Yes.
Which, the hands coming out with the cards.
Oh.
I mean, so good.
There was a lot of really good, subtly creepy scenes with him.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
And, that starts that battle, and you're right about his love affair with Vicky, but then the Joker sees Vicky and says, I want her too. And that's how all these three come back together.
Right.
And Batman's good. He's fighting Joker, who's evil. And, Vicky's in the middle, and it just becomes this kind of back and forth battle, and then obviously Batman comes out in the end. But I will tell you that I think watching it as an adult, as we talk about this with movies, I think this was an adult movie.
Definitely.
Not a kid movie.
100%.
So when I watched this, I did not know that the Joker was sleeping with his boss's wife.
Oh, me neither.
And the boss wanted to set him up, and that's why when he went to the chemical factory, there was the shootout with the police, because he was like, you're sleeping with my wife? Went over my head. I also did not know about Bruce Wayne dating Vicky. I thought they just were friends hanging out as a kid. Like, I didn't really, put those two together.
They have sleepovers.
Yeah, well, I was just like, oh, it was so fun. They were just hanging out a lot. Yeah, this was an adult movie. And it was Katie, so good.
It was.
I rate it higher now.
Yeah.
Rewatching it. And this is, where you and I kind of disagree on movies. I'm sold.
Woo!
I was like, what? I enjoyed every minute and, yelled at the screen and woo-wooed, and I got into it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a good story overall. I think that's why it's been retold so many times, Even if you didn't have the Joker part, which I think that's definitely the
best part. Strongest
villain of his.
Strongest.
So, good thing that was the one picked for this movie. And again, I think Tim Burton, the way that he... it's sad to say, because I did make a note in the opening credits. When I saw Tim Burton's name, even though I did know he was the director, in my head I was like, oh man, this is when he was good. And then I was like, ooh, rude. But
wait, you don't think
rude.
Tim Burton's good?
I mean...
What's his latest? I don't know. School me.
It's just all the bad kids movies. So it's just... not good. But, this was back in his prime. I'm not even sure in the lineup of the movies he'd done. I actually wonder where this one fell, if it was more...
Oh, I'll tell you.
Oh, please
Because I thought this was fascinating.
Yeah.
So DC Comics were like, Tim Burton, who are you? And they didn't allow him to take this movie until they saw how Beetlejuice did.
Oh, okay.
Beetlejuice crushed it, and it was the year before this.
Wow.
How awesome is that?
And then Michael Keaton.
Well, and then, I don't know if you know about this, because I was on a fun fact mission.
Driving the bus.
Is that nobody wanted Michael Keaton to do it.
I could see that,
because,
actually.
So probably mom and dad would school us on this, that he was Tom Hanks, and he was funny.
Mm-hmm.
And, all the hardcore comic fans
Yeah.
were pissed that they would pick him, this silly guy who's supposed to be Batman, like, as if actors can't act, which makes me laugh so hard. And he was great. I thought Michael Keaton did his thing.
I bet people wanted an action hero. They probably wanted Schwarzenegger or someone like that to be doing this. Thank God he didn't. I mean, he was in a later Batman movie, but we don't talk.
Mr. Freeze.
We don't talk about that movie.
Okay, can you tell me what time era?
I think it's modern day. Well, for the time, at the time. You don't think?
Why did they... Okay, but Katie, they had the 50s hats, and it was the 1989s where, Mom had a perm. And, Vicky Vale dressed the 80s part. But the city folk... I mean, how about the first family that gets robbed? The criminals come out with a little gun, and they're like, hey, stick it up. What are you doing there? And I'm like, what, is this Dick Tracy?
You're gonna see, the gang snapping down the hallway.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not... I don't know, 1989. Wasn't it NWA? What is I don't know. It's not the 50s. It felt 50s, but you didn't know.
I wish Ice Cube was in this movie. Man, that'd be so good.
Okay, but when they first opened up into Gotham, talk to me about your thoughts.
I was like, am I at Six Flags Great Adventure? Because I wish I was.
Oh my god, best ride ever was the Batman.
That was my first upside-down roller coaster.
Oh my god.
And
your childhood memories.
Again, because you don't make certain connections to things when you're younger, but I think if I were to go to Six Flags now and go on that ride, I'd be like, Axis Chemicals, look over there. Look at that.
Yep.
Do you guys hear that? That's the news broadcast. Look, there's the bat suit. I think I would be more of a nerd about it, whereas when I was little, I was like, whatever. Stupid.
You're so spot on, though. You would notice all these, little details in that ride, and it became this whole marketing phenomenon, which I think the symbol... I gotta Google who did that symbol, because I saw it in the beginning, and I was like, wow.
I mean, probably the Batman creator made it, because it's a comic.
I don't know. I was so in. Okay, when we first see Batman, the first time, do you remember what happens?
I wish I could reenact it.
Can you do it?
Oh, yours is good. Yours looks like wings. Oh boy, that was weird. I was like, oh no.
I thought to myself,
honey,
stop it. He literally was like a fairy.
The slowest descent.
Oh, and the little scalloped edges. I was like, okay, stop.
I wrote notes being like, wait, so because that was his entrance in almost every scene. So, okay. And then I was like, wait, can he fly? Where... questions.
It was a lot. The cape was a lot.
Yeah.
It was almost as if the costume designer was like, the cape is really serious. And they're like, okay, Bob, we'll shoot it. And then by the end of the movie, we're like, that's so cheesy. We gotta get Bob out of here. And, Bob was gone, and then the cape, they were like, all right, chill out in the cape. And then he would, flip the cape like an actual superhero versus put his wings up like he's a butterfly.
Bats don't float at 0.001 miles an hour. That's not how they go. So I think he was confused.
And the scene was the criminals saying, there ain't no Batman. And then he just literally butterflies his wings out. And I was like, stop it. Stop it right now. Oh, and even in the beginning, because I was blown away, and the Joker says this line the best, that guy's got great toys. His accessories.
Bridget.
We dream of those. I dream of those accessories.
Bridget, I'm gonna have you remember that for later. That's all I'm
Do you have accessories?
That's all I'm gonna say with that. Ew, no, I don't have. What does that mean? I just need you to remember this moment.
I can't wait.
Okay.
Remembered.
He had a lot of grappling hooks, which I did remember, but there were times where he would use it and I'd be like, Why that?
Yes. And think about how thin his suit was. It's like, where do you fit a fitted hook? Like, he would literally look like a spiky dog toy.
Maybe that's why he had to fly so slowly. He would drop things if he went too quickly.
He's like, oh, ow, oh, those edges, oh, ow, oh.
And realistically, there wasn't a lot of combat fighting, you know?
Okay, I looked this up because I'm the nerd in this stint. His shoes, I was like, he did a lot of sidekicks. And I don't know, for whatever reason, was like thinking about his shoes a lot. And Nike designed his shoes. You can Google it. It's like a cool picture. Because think about how many sidekicks he did.
I don't remember.
Like karate style. Katie, there's so many.
I just remember thinking, like, even in that beginning scene, I'm like, oh yeah, these thugs, they robbed that family. Which, I'm gonna be honest, for a second, I was like, is this Bruce Wayne and his parents? Aren't they rich? Why are they looking for a cab? Wasn't. It was just symbolism. Fine. Anyway, but like, I thought he was gonna get in like this huge fight. He pushes one guy. Like, I don't think he punched him. I think he just pushed him. And then he just grabs the other guy. And that was it. I was like, oh, we're done.
Yeah, it was weird.
But also when Batman tells the guy, like, tell everyone I'm Batman, then in my mind, I'm like, oh, and now he's gonna go help the family that's crying in the alley. No, then he leaves. He doesn't even give them money. He
takes
just
his
disappears. He grapples away.
Just grapples away.
Yep.
So you're spot on, though, about the dirty cop, and we slowly get introduced to Jack. I'm with you. Napier. And then we see the cheesy writer who's 8 sightings in a month. They say he drinks blood. They say he can't be killed. Is he on the police payroll? This is Pulitzer Prize stuff. Which I kept thinking, if you were paying more attention, you'd realize you had a dirty cop paying Jack Nicholson.
He's doing it literally down the alley.
He's literally next to you doing it. Like, you right just there. Had to turn the corner and follow him.
Keep recording.
And he had a news story.
Look behind you.
The worst.
I think he was only a character to somehow get Vicky involved. Even though she probably could have just got involved in her own, but yeah, he was the worst.
Yeah, he was really
didn't care.
Well, but that beginning scene, it's funny. As a kid, I had all these like flashbacks. The Joker's secondhand man, who I learned later was called Bob.
I thought of you.
Scared the crap out of me.
Oh.
Well, you thought of me because of the nickname Bob?
Yes.
Oh.
Because you used to like that name.
But I remember as a kid being like, that guy's really scary. But somehow I didn't think the Joker was scary. I was like, he's so silly.
Probably because he was smiling.
Yeah, and now as an adult, I'm like, yo, the Joker's like crazy.
I remember being afraid of him a little bit.
Of Bob?
No.
The guy, Bob or the Joker? Oh. I don't know. Bob really got to me.
The only person afraid of Bob. Bob, what did Bob do? Did he hurt anyone? I don't think.
Well, he was like a secondhand man.
No, I know.
He was like the
You are my
forcer.
number one guy.
Oh, the foreshadowing.
Bob was just there. Bridget, why didn't you like Bob?
I don't know. I just like a childhood memory came back, and I was like, that guy was scary. As if like that was the only time I paid attention. Okay, fun fact. Let me ask you. How did the writer introduce Vicky Vale in her first scene? Do you remember the quote?
Something lame. It was like the reporter being gross, like, look at that pair of legs.
You're right there. He goes, hello, legs.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
I was like,
so foul.
Okay. And then he goes, oh, I know you. You're that photographer for Vogue or Cosmo. And she was like, actually, I'm a Times photographer. I went to war. And you're just like, okay.
And again, my question is, who hired Vicky? Did anyone hire her? Is she working pro bono? Nobody knows. You can just walk into any newspaper place and start working? Like, I'll go do that right now.
But she validated the writer and said, you're onto something. This Batman's a thing, and I'm going to get a picture of him. And so he's like, we're a team.
And then he was creepy and gross to her the whole time.
Do you remember her first outfit?
Was it like a short skirt or something stupid?
Shoulder pads.
Oh, honey.
Very aggressive shoulder pads. Then I was like, I'm in the era. apparently she was not supposed to be the lead in this film.
Who was it supposed to be?
I didn't know this woman, Sean Kelly or something, but she was the lead in Blade Runner.
Oh, I love Blade Runner.
Well, and she got in a horse accident.
Ah!
So last minute, they were like, Kim Basinger. And she was like, okay. So, okay. Should we talk about the problems with her, or should we go through
the Vicky problems?
The sequence.
There were so many Vicky problems that I feel like we're just going to end up talking about all the scenes anyway, because, damn.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so here's my first Vicky problem. In this era, every woman talks like this.
Oh.
I'm a Pulitzer Prize photographer, and I have to have a slow, loud voice. Oh my. I get it. The high cheekbones. You're blonde. You know, it's just like, oh my God, why do you have to be like, oh, Mr. President? It's just, women had the roles.
Well, she was like the only woman. There was like no one else.
Pretty much,
like,
yeah.
Like, except the mom got shot, so.
Well, and then the wife that Jack Nicholson was cheating on.
Yeah, she died too. Everybody's dying. My biggest problem with Vicky is she's stage 5 clinger.
Oh, that's what I thought. I wrote that everywhere. I go, stalker, stalker, stalker.
And I think she should hold herself to a little bit higher of a standard.
I am right there with you.
It's the weirdest thing.
And
like, Bruce, get out of there. Avoid at all costs. Danger, danger. You don't have to worry about the Joker. You got this thing happening.
Well, and let's talk about, they meet, first date, get a little tipsy, do a one-night stand. Okay, whatever.
Fine.
Then he tells her, I have something to do. She goes, oh, okay, whatever, call me whenever. And then, Alfred, which we got
she's like, let's have lunch today in 4 hours. And he's like, I have stuff to do. And she's like, what about dinner? And he's like, no.
You're so right.
It was crazy.
But Alfred, who we have to totally talk about, because Alfred is AKA Mom in this movie. Okay. Because Alfred's like, hey, Bruce, she's a nice lady. You gotta get married. Can I get some grandkids, Bruce? It's like, calm down, Mom,
Jesus.
Alfred. But she then is tipped off by Alfred because Bruce says, oh, I gotta go out of town. She goes, oh, Alfred, enjoy out of town. He goes, we're not going out of town. And it's as if she's like, oh, I was just rejected. Instead of a normal reaction, which is, okay, whatever, I'll just go on with my day. This guy isn't interested. She's like, I gotta figure this man out.
Gotta get the scoop.
I'm gonna give a voicemail. And then I'm going to follow him.
Yep.
Take pictures.
She did.
And then print out the pictures in a dark, scary room.
Yep.
Lay out the pictures and look at him. Katie, if I came home to you with pictures of a guy that you're like, I had a one-night stand with, I don't think he's interested because his butler said they're not going away, but they are. So I followed him, took pictures, printed them out, and I'm looking at them. I would literally pick you up and take you to the mental hospital.
I'd become the Joker. I'd become the Prince Bat Dance Joker hybrid. That would be my origin story.
Oh my God, it's kind of like the Harley Quinn, right? I don't know much about her, but it reminds me of that.
No, but...
I don't know.
But, good reference. Good try.
This is why these movies, by the way, I call this movie Marvel the whole time.
No,
I know. Mose was like, Bridget, it's not Marvel. You can't tell Katie it's Marvel. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And then in the first 2 seconds of the movie, it was like, based on a DC Comics. He's like,
read this. Come on.
Oh my God.
She was just, it made me mad because I appreciated how she at least had a job and on her own was somewhat credible. And it wasn't the stereotypical, I do fashion magazines. Like, she did have that whole thing and that was great. But then it's like they went totally backwards with that whole part with her and Bruce. She could have still been...
I'm with you.
They could have kept the date. They could have kept the one night together. And then from there, when Alfred... like you said, kind of spilled the beans in a sense. Yeah. I wish instead of her being like, oh, man, he doesn't want to date me. I'm going to go stalk him. I wish instead she was like, oh, he lied about something, which means he has to go somewhere. And somehow connected it to potentially being Batman.
Yes.
Or if when she was staying the night, she found something or saw something that alluded to it a little bit more.
You mean my favorite part of the whole movie? You know what I'm talking about?
As I was saying it, the picture appeared in my brain, and oh my God, did she see that though? Because I saw it and I hated it.
My favorite part. Set the scene, Katie. Set the scene.
But I'm still...
They just make love.
Yeah.
She's in the bed.
And
it's
then
the middle of the night. And what happens? He's not there.
No, he's... is it in the same room? Is it another room? I don't know where we are. I don't know who's seeing it. I don't know what's happening. But you see him with his back turned, and he's hanging upside down and, like, swinging? But his arms are folded, so it's not a workout. And it's also late at night, and I don't think he's asleep. And I'm confused.
Is he a bat? Is he a human bat?
Okay, but like... I don't get it. I don't get it.
This was like the scene in 10 Things I Hate About You, where... You know, Larissa Olsen is swinging on the swing like a 5-year-old, and it's a sad song, and you're like, what in the world? That was this scene.
Someone's like, he's not being bat enough. Let's hang him upside down.
Yes, this is probably Bob again, with the, you know, the weird wings, and he's like, we should make him a bat, go upside down. They definitely fired Bob after that scene. They were like, you know what? We gotta use it. It's in Bob's contract.
Well, Bob got shot
we gotta
later,
get going.
So...
My God, Bob.
Jesus, respect.
Oh my God, double Bob.
That was so weird. But did Vicky see that? Because I don't think she did.
I don't either. It was just...
Like, if she saw that and was like, that's really weird. Who's hanging upside down? And she asked him about it, and he was sketchy, and then he lied, and then it turned into her following him for the Batman plot.
Sense.
Yes.
I'm with you.
But, like, clearly the writers were not women. So clearly they thought the only way this woman and this man can be related is if they're making out and the woman's obsessed with him. That's the only way it works in life, don't you know, kids?
Okay, are you ready for a super sexist inside scoop?
Yeah.
Are you prepared?
I don't know. I'm drinking, sure.
The Blade Runner woman, Sean something, who last minute couldn't do it, they were scrambling. And Tim Burton said, I want Michelle Pfeiffer. But Michael Keaton used to date her.
Wow.
So he was just getting back with his ex-wife or something. And he was like, she can't do it because I used to date her and now I'm like getting back with my ex-wife.
Oh.
So
that's mature.
Didn't hire her.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Kim Basinger just, you know, twinkled towards the scene.
Michelle was better as Catwoman.
I mean, she was, but think about it. Oh my God. Yeah. So I'm with you. I'm with you on the like, oh my God, it's just, women just had the roles then. So we need to talk about the Joker because Academy Award winner?
Jack Nicholson? Oh yeah.
He stood the test of time. I was riveted by every scene. I don't know. I really didn't appreciate him as a kid. I appreciated him now.
He was so good.
Oh.
And like before he fell into the chemicals, I liked him.
He was sleazy. Yeah, you're like, ew, he's sleeping with the woman.
It was kind of like, you're like another like gangster. And there was a lot of allusions to him being crazy, but you didn't really see a lot of crazy.
No, you didn't.
At all.
But he had a little bit of the comedy. Like there was a scene where she's like, well, honey, you look good. And he's like, well, I didn't ask. But I wish we could spend 5 solid minutes just listing out Joker quotes. How many did you write down?
A lot.
I have so many.
But, you know, I'm glad he wasn't like a normal guy for too long. I'm glad they kind of, because they did kind of rush it.
It was fast. So I had that. It went fast in the beginning, which is why as a kid, I think, okay, let's be honest. We probably forwarded dumb parts.
I don't even know. I don't even know if I ever...
Or I'm sure our brother did.
Yeah. Well, because it was the whole corrupt cop and whatever. I don't care. And then, when he got to the factory, it was very quick in the movie.
Yeah, it was quick. It was fast.
The whole just reveal and the scene with the vat with the hand, that was good.
And the cards, the poker cards coming up.
But I really liked the scene, and it was weird, and I was confused how we got there, but we were there, where he was in the basement of somewhere.
Yep. A surgeon.
Who is that man? Did we find him on Craigslist? I don't know.
That was at Craigslist Hospital. It was a dark, abandoned building, and somehow there was the word surgery in the background, and the guy was like, Jack, look at the tools I have. So it
4 tools.
Which I was like, wait a second, that's like a butter knife, a dental, pick cleaner.
A toaster. I don't know.
But I did really like how his face had the gauze.
But I loved his reaction after that because, again, you see this guy, this like gangster who everyone says is crazy, but you don't really see the crazy.
Yeah.
And, you know, as a normal person that we were, in my opinion, led to believe he is up until that point, you would think that his reaction to seeing his face all deformed would be to cry. So that's what he does. He starts to cry right away. But then it turns to like a maniacal laughter, and he breaks the mirror, and he's breaking things, but he's still laughing. Oh, so good. Just so good. So well done. And he doesn't even kill the guy.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Because, you know, part of you is like, uh-oh, he's the bad guy. He's gonna kill him. No, he doesn't. Yeah. He just leaves. He was very unpredictable.
He was.
I couldn't always predict who was gonna die or not.
You're spot on with that.
Yeah.
Did you see the latest movie with Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker?
I did. It was very depressing.
Well, when he started to laugh in exactly that scene, I immediately went back to, he's got the condition that Joaquin Phoenix has.
He just developed it
He just developed this laughing. Because you're right, before this scene, he didn't have a maniacal laugh.
Nope.
You know, he slept with the wife and was like, like he had none of that.
That would be a weird ending.
Oh my God. But yeah, I love that he then went back to the boss and just said, which is another sexist moment, "You set me up over a woman?" Yeah. And I was like, here we go.
Right.
And I thought the Joker just hated Batman because Batman was like fighting for good and he was fighting for evil. And I now, as an adult, made the connection, he literally threw him into the vat.
Which, as a kid, I didn't make the connection that, and they say it at the end, and it's done really well, the writing and the acting of that one scene where Batman's like, "You killed my parents. It was you." Yeah. And he's kind of like, you know, saying all this stuff. The Joker's like, "I was just a kid, and blah, blah, blah." And he was like, "You made me into what I am." And Batman says that, and the Joker's like, "But you made me into what I am." And you're like, good. Oh, shit. You guys are like the same.
Oh, good and evil. It's so close yet so far.
And I think there's been criticism about it, how it was like, oh, really? The Joker killed Batman's parents? I'm not sure that's in the actual comic, to be honest. It might be, but I'm trying to remember The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, and that wasn't in there.
No, that wasn't a thing.
He was just some crazy guy that just appeared, and there was a lot of talk of like, oh, some people are just crazy, but I kind of liked how they had a connection, and it might have been cheesy, but it was just an interesting thing to think about, because again, you made me, but because you made me, I made you. And who's the bigger evil?
Yeah. So it's funny, because I feel like movies today are really fast to the point I actually complain about them, that I wish they were slower. And this movie did things really fast, and then it took some time with the important stuff. It was a really good rhythm.
Yeah, I agree.
I also really loved, which I completely forgot about but remembered as a kid, the electrocuting handshake.
Oh my God, that was scary.
As an adult, I thought, well, that escalated quickly.
And as a kid, I thought,
well, I feel like as a kid, you were like, hey.
No, I was afraid. That was scary.
Oh my God. See, Bob was my fear.
That could happen to anyone. You don't know. You can't see someone's hand when you go to shake it. Who knows?
And I just kept repeating. Sorry, I live in a city. Do you hear the... the commissioner's here. He's going to get Batman.
Commissioner Gordon.
I just wrote down just over and over again how good Jack Nicholson was. And
so good.
When everybody leaves, because he's like, all right, you guys aren't going to fall in line. Even though I killed a guy in front of you, which was very like Kill Bill, by the way, that whole like, long table setup.
Oh, yeah.
I thought to myself, okay, well, the scene's done. The people leave, and then there's just this beautiful monologue where he's just talking to the dead guy.
Yes.
And then he straightens his tie. Oh, my God. I don't know if they gave Jack Nicholson that direction, or he just kind of was silly and did his own thing. I was so into it.
Yeah.
I never got bored of watching him.
Yeah. And he was always believable, too. Because, you know, sometimes I feel like you see actors, well-known actors, doing crazy performances, and you don't always buy it.
Yeah.
I didn't get that way with Jack Nicholson. And to be honest, even though I think a lot of people, you know, they always say, oh, well, he's like always the crazy guy. You know, he was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He was in The Shining. Yeah. But honestly, this character, this is not like any other character.
No, not at all.
So
this was your point of unpredictable, which to me is the scariest. So terrifying to me because you don't know where you stand.
Yep.
And this is my latest quote from him, is when they're in the museum and he's like, I'm an artist. And he's just, the boombox, there's the 1989 boombox.
So real.
So good. And I, as a kid, I was like, oh, I remember this scene. This was a great scene.
Because as a kid, you're like, this is fun. Even though there's dead people.
Yeah, you're like, oh, what a blast. First of all, before that, he puts chemicals in beauty products and just knocks out an entire section of the city.
Yep.
Then he goes into a museum, just knocks out a whole museum full of people. And I'm like, what a blast. There's music playing, there's a boombox, and he's got neon colors. Let's paint away.
Party.
And he just does these dances and just kind of whips his hand to like take statues and fly them to the ground. And that kind of crazy, to your point. The Joker is confusing because you're like, oh, he's not so dangerous. Or, oh, wait, he is dangerous. Wait, he killed people. Wait, does he? You know, it really keeps you on your toes.
Yes. And even with Bob, I did not know Bob was going to die.
The foreshadowing. What did he say? Do you remember?
I do remember, but, you know, he's crazy. I don't know. That's the thing.
I didn't think he was going to die either. I was pretty sad about that.
He went through the whole movie. He did everything. And then because he got mad about Batman stealing balloons, which, how is that Bob's fault?
It's not Bob's fault.
Bob gets shot. There's like 40 other weird henchmen, which the henchmen...
Yes. How did they come to life?
These are the questions we have.
Where did they come from? Where's the recruiting process?
I would like to know. Yeah, was there an interview?
It's like the Vicky Vale HR.
They're all dancing in that art scene. They're all like really into it. You didn't even see anyone being like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this. Everyone was like going 400,000% into the dancing. It was... Yeah.
They were flicking paint as
I don't even know.
I don't know, as if it was a rave.
I don't know what was happening. It was so
You're
weird.
Spot
also,
on with
the
that.
Joker was wearing a chef hat.
No. Okay, I'm going to take you back. What that is. So, I made this connection as an adult. When the commissioner comes out and they're like, we're doing the festival! They were like, that one guy was like really serious about the festival.
Yeah, he needed a chill pill.
All the mimes come out and they get weird, and then the Joker just like literally kills all that people at the old table.
He kills a man with a pen.
Oh god, it was so good.
Who has a pen? Okay.
So there, Bob, because Bob's the best and the scariest, took pictures. And the Joker, do you remember the scrapbooking scene?
Yes.
He goes through it and he's like, boring. Now this woman, Vicky Vale, is wearing a beret. And if you notice, after that scene when they go to the museum, and he's like, she's got style. And then they all wear the beret. And you're right, he does have some sort of like chef hat beret.
I thought it was a chef hat.
But I think that was the connection where we're going to the museum, she's got style, and like, I want to be with a woman with style. And I was like, Tim Burton, that is some serious connection.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I was just like, why is he dressed as an Italian pizza maker? What's going on?
I loved in that scene when he takes the lighter and he just, he clicks it and it's like a flamethrower and it lights the candle. She's like, ah! And then he like lights the candles.
Yeah.
God.
I mean, he complained about all the fun toys Batman had. He had some fun things too. I really wanted to get that punching bag gun that he had.
Oh my god. But he broke so many TVs.
Sure did.
Okay, let's talk about a plot hole though.
Oh, okay. Because I there's one in mind that I'm thinking of. But what do you?
How does he just take over television?
Well, that I don't know.
They don't even introduce like a fake IT guy. The newscast at an entire corporation is going, and they're like, wait, what's happening? Someone's taking over. And it's the Joker like, we love the Joker, which is the best commercial ever.
I wrote that too. I was like, who did the production for this? I support it. Those
so
seagulls
good.
look so real.
But he did that twice, where he just took over and he was like, that was also the festival. I'm going to drop $20 million. you all better show up. And I just kept thinking, how is he getting on TV?
And then at the one point, he did the swipe where he made the other person that was over here looking at him over there disappear, and he somehow knew that person was to his right. And
Wow.
no.
No.
There's some black magic happening in this.
Yep.
I actually thought, so I wrote that down, that was a problem. Or a plot hole, whatever.
What was your other plot hole?
The other one was what we were talking about, the art scene. Because Vicky gets invited. How does she get invited by Bruce without knowing it's Bruce? Was it a letter?
Katie.
There's no emails. How did she know?
Oh, you mean...
How did she...
Okay.
Because
you
it
mean
wasn't him.
Somebody called her. In your mind, you're like, did somebody call you and say, hey, it's Bruce,
but like,
come to the museum?
You don't think the Stage 5 Klinger would know who or who not Bruce
You're
really
right.
is?
You're right with that plot. Yeah.
But not only that point, but the fact that whoever it was who was somehow related to the Joker knew that she dated Batman, and she had literally just dated him the night before? What? Who knew that?
I think Bob tipped the Joker off on that.
How did Bob know? Was Bob in the bedroom, Bridget?
No, when he took the picture of her and Bruce Wayne was there, and they got in the car and she was like, Bruce. And I think Bob saw, again, it's probably all roads lead to Bob. And he just gets no appreciation.
Bob just gets
And he
shot.
also scared me.
Bridget. I can't. I'm dead. I don't know. I took issue with that because I didn't remember that setup. I knew that she was in an art museum and I knew that that's where the Joker came, but I didn't know that she was alone and that she was waiting for Bruce, but it wasn't really Bruce.
I know. I knew that the Joker lied about that, which made sense to me, but you're right. I didn't go into the detail that said, was there a fake Bruce voice? They could have just had someone pick up the phone and try to pretend to be him or something.
I don't know. Well, good thing she was a Stage 5 Klinger, because if she wasn't,
she was there.
She wouldn't have called him and left a voicemail saying she was going to be 10 minutes late. I'm sorry. Honey, stop that. Just show up 10 minutes late. It's going to be okay.
You're right. She's got self-esteem issues. And what's the self-esteem issue that they call out? Do you remember the scene?
Yeah.
Do you remember? Which one is it?
I hated that. I don't like cursing, but I just did it.
What scene is it?
Her weight. How much do you weigh? If that character was a man, they would have never had that line in there.
Honey. What has it taken? Like 50,000 years for a female lead? I mean, Wonder Woman came out last year. No,
Wonder Woman. The Wonder Woman is so golden.
I said this to Mose. I was like, dude, 108 pounds. Gross. And then he was like,
that's like the weight of my foot.
Ugh. My hair. And he literally was like, he was laughing. He's like, no, Bridget, that was the joke, is that she gave it low weight and then Batman got stuck. So then he had to, like, I don't know if you remember that, he had to jump off of her. Okay. And he went back later and he was like, oh, you're more than 108 pounds.
No.
Remember how he said that?
Oh, I remember, but I don't, no.
Oh.
Batman,
what?
no.
What?
Batman's grappling hook didn't get stuck because of her. I don't want to hear that. It got stuck because he uses it all the time. He's overusing his hooks. That's his fault. And he's trying to blame it on someone else.
I just said to him, I was like, it literally doesn't matter because, like, an 8-year-old doesn't weigh 108 pounds in my mind.
I mean,
so,
they weigh less than that. But,
but it's just like, my God.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you could just tell this movie.
It was just so cheesy.
It was old school in,
Ugh.
progressiveness, I suppose.
Yes.
In terms of equal rights. You know what bothered me too? The Billy D. Williams character.
What's that?
See? That's the problem. You don't even know. Because he was so useless. He was Harvey Dent.
Oh.
Here's my problem with it. I'm not even gonna touch on the fact that that's a huge character in the original stories and he eventually becomes Two-Face. I don't even care about that.
Okay.
What bothered me is when the movie started and he gets introduced pretty quickly. He's, newly appointed. We're all so excited. We're all celebrating Harvey. And you see it's Billy D. Williams, who is a black actor. So I'm like, woo! too. Wow, pretty impressive for the 80s. Yeah, you know, there were some lead roles, but like, it wasn't common to see characters like that thrown into comics. Could you name one black person in Superman? You can't, because there wasn't. So it was an issue with that, with the inclusiveness. And so they have him in a main character role. So you get excited and you're like,
I know where you're going with this. Yeah,
good job, 80s. And I think he said maybe 4 lines. Maybe.
No, you know how he introduced himself?
I don't even know.
Just to tell you how racist it is?
It's probably some bullshit.
No, he goes, well, you all know I'm a man of few words.
Great! That'll excuse us for not giving you lines. Perfect.
Literally. And I remember thinking, why? Aren't you like the leader? Why can't you speak?
And everyone is like throwing this huge celebration and it's building him up as if he's going to be super important. Nope, he don't do squat.
Yeah, nobody
There's nothing for him to do.
It was very top heavy. I'll say that management was very top heavy in Gotham. They needed some more middle managers.
There was one line in the beginning, I think right when they're about to introduce Harvey Dent, and it's some guy, and I think it's the guy who kept talking about the
festival.
The festival. Yeah, it was that guy.
Chill
he was like,
out, bro. He's like the Vicky Vale of commissioners.
He was a stage 5 festival clinger, that's for sure. But if it was him, he's talking, and this is the line that he says. He goes, our public officials are helpless.
Awkward turtle. Awkward.
At least lie. Come on. You can do better.
So rude.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a giant capital letters exclamation point of an introduction to something that's iconic. What is it, Katie? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Batmobile. Is that it?
That was it! Nailed it! That was it! Okay, again, James Mose watched it with me.
Oh boy.
And he
loves his cars.
He wooed. He was like, woo! I did the same thing. I was like, yes! Okay, think about Elon Musk. Think about autonomous cars.
I wrote
Wait, stay with me.
I know exactly where you're going, and I wrote about that. It's so funny.
Oh my god. But I just thought to myself, they were ahead of their time. This is so good. And then the whole like, stop, go.
Shields up.
Literally, I had like so cheesy but inner child joy when the Batmobile came out. I thought, this is living. Like, literally, I was like, yeah! I got off the couch. I was like, yes! It was so good.
Wait,
it was so good.
I want to read you my notes for that scene because it's so good.
Oh my god.
And first of all, right before that is an amazing line. Again, so many amazing lines from the Joker where he's like in the art museum and he's getting really close to Vicky. I think he's trying to kiss her and she goes, "You're insane." And he goes, "I thought I was a Pisces."
I wrote that same thing down.
Amazing. So I'm going to use that also. There's a lot of Joker quotes I'm about to use in my life, so everybody get ready. Anyway,
so
all right, so here's my notes. So Batman comes in, he saves her. He uses a grappling hook. No one's surprised. What, we're used to it. And he turns it into a Batman zip line. We're now on a zip line at summer camp through the art museum. He goes out the main door with Vicky. And then the car reveal is this angle where the front of the car is touching the camera lens. And then it's kind of back. And like, it looked a little inappropriate, if you know what I'm saying. But it was really funny at the same time. Anyway, so he's driving like a crazy person. And I go, the Batmobile almost runs a pedestrian over. It's fine. No need to follow traffic laws. And then he grappling hooks out of the car.
Oh.
And he stops his car in traffic because there's construction equipment. And then he leaves his car. And then he puts shields up. But now he's blocking traffic because Batman don't follow the rules. And You could just leave your car and then the car drives itself.
I'm with you.
It's Tesla.
I'm with you.
I'm
I
dead.
thought to myself, if the car has skills to do autonomous driving, why are we parking in the scene? I mean, again, maybe this is part of his, like, marketing.
I was going to say, it was like a publicity stunt. He was like, I've been waiting for this moment. Thank God.
The side of the car, like, just shows out business cards and it flies out of the wheels.
Follow my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Subscribe and like. But can we talk about when he does, then they get away? What is the coolest scene ever?
I was literally just going to say, I loved the scene where they're driving through the woods to
Tim Burton.
his lair. The music is amazing. Danny Elfman, who did probably almost all of his movies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But that part with a chorus where it's like, and it's just very epic and it's dark. And they're not talking for a while and you don't really know, like, what's going on. I knew they were going probably to his lair. Probably.
As
like,
one does.
Not going for a vacay. That would be weird.
I was shocked when that quickly turned into the cave.
That was cool.
I was like, oh, it held up.
Yeah.
The special effects held up.
Yes. I mean, and again, it's so sad to say, but I kept, even though that's not part of Six Flags, I was like, wow, that would be like a Six Flags roller coaster where, like, you think you're going somewhere and then you go somewhere else. Whoa.
So, a lot of people, though, when this first came out, they were mad about the cave.
Why?
Because they thought it was unrealistic.
Well, it was. So.
I know, but I was like, but it's a movie.
I didn't mind the cave. The cave was funny, but the part that was really funny with the bats was when Batman knocks Vicky out. I don't know. She went to bed. I don't know. And then as she's knocked out,
you're right.
there's bats that are floating in front of the screen, but like they were edited to look like they weren't really flying. They were just stationary and they were real bats. And that was the scene transition. And I don't know.
You're right. I don't know how she got knocked out, but it was this weird build-up scene, which is, in theory, Vicky, you didn't know this was Batman, and he finally whipped off his mask, and you would think she'd go, wow, you're Batman! And
exactly.
Instead, she was just like, hey, Bruce, you want to hang out? You're
She's like, so can we hang now?
Vicky, where's your camera, Vicky?
Yeah, Vicky.
Ugh.
The
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And then I just have Joker quotes for my next line, which is Batman, friend or foe, and never rub another man's rhubarb.
That was great. I love that.
And then, oh wait, I guess this was just like all Joker scenes. My smile is only skin deep.
But he goes to Vicky's apartment and he brings his gang and Bob's there and Bob has this huge box. So you think that something malicious or dangerous is going to happen because he tried to hurt her before. And then whatever. And then there's the whole spat with Batman and he shoots him in quotation marks. But then he leaves.
Well, not Batman. It's Bruce Wayne.
Okay. The listeners know.
He doesn't know it's Bruce Wayne.
All right. There's spoilers. It's okay. But he just leaves. You couldn't mail the box?
I'm with you.
I don't get it.
I'm with you.
That was a lot of manpower.
It was a lot of manpower.
For that weird visit. You don't even kidnap her?
I thought he would kidnap her. That was, I thought, why go there?
Yes.
Not anything. Not try to... But that's what made him so good, is you didn't know...
Yes, it was very scary.
It was really scary. And I didn't realize with Bruce Wayne, when he took the tray under his shirt to block the bullets that are being shot at him, I didn't make that connection.
Oh,
did you?
I did. I figured it was going to be something. Although, in all honesty...
I thought he was going to hit him over the head.
Well, my first thought was, it's not exactly a grappling hook, but we can throw it. So... Maybe there's something there.
Maybe we could chisel into a grappling hook.
It would take a while, but we could do it. But the next scene, or perhaps not the very next, but shortly after, is the festival.
Yep.
I want you to describe the festival?
Well, he does the fake TV commercial.
Yeah, he does.
That he lets everybody know, Gotham City at midnight tonight, I'm gonna drop $20 million on the crowd. And I challenge you, Batman, friend or foe, come on down. And it just was so good because the close-up of the crowd being like, give me money, and that weird, fat Pinocchio balloon.
I hated it.
It reminded me, Kate, when we went to New York, the Thanksgiving Day parade.
Oh, no.
And the day before the parade, do you remember how we saw all the balloons get blown up?
Yeah.
And they're just so big. And, you know, all those puffy bomber jackets that they're all wearing. But that Prince song.
So good.
God.
And again, the henchmen, they were living it up. Everybody bought it 100%. Nobody was like frowning. Nobody was pretending. Everybody was living their best life as a crazy person.
And I watched Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, he's just he's dancing. And he's having a good old time. And he's throwing piles of cash into the crowd. And there's just cash everywhere. And I thought, this is so 80s.
Don't you think if that were to happen now?
Yeah.
Because all I kept thinking with this whole scene is, you know, even when he did the commercial, if I saw a person who I know is a murderer and murdered people and is murdering in the present tense, I hope I would take pause and not think, woo, money, I'm going on out there.
So I saw, and I would love a sit down with Tim Burton. I would ask him in the 80s, when everybody was obsessed with consumerism and credit cards, and I'm a material, right?
Yeah.
It's like, first it was the chemicals, because the chemical companies got huge in that era because they made all the beauty products. And I thought, oh my God, he's poisoning the beauty products. And then he's all about, you know, tearing art apart, because that was an era where art didn't matter anymore. That shifted, and nobody gave a crap about art. And then it shifted to like, cash, come for cash. And I just kept thinking to myself, this is so 80s, where you look at the Batman and Joker today, and it's about like mental health, and it's about the poverty. Because like, how did the Joker get all this money, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just, that was the hint of the times.
I didn't think of it that way. That's interesting, because it's true, like you said, this is a storyline that, even though it was originally based on a comic, I think has definitely been readapted in a lot of ways.
Yes.
I actually don't think in the comic there is any origin with Joker, which explains, I think, why there's so many different versions.
Yeah. And then the gas goes off, and then people just start dying. But the funniest part about people dying is Vicky's like, oh, I think there's gas. And he's like, get in the car, Vicky. And she's like, oh God, okay. And then the writer, who we never name in this entire episode, jumps on the top of the hood of the car, and she drives crazy through the streets. He somehow doesn't die when she stops short and he flies into garbage. He also doesn't die that he's outside with the gas. And they go down an alley, and then they're fine. They're like, oh, fresh air.
He also falls into chicken feathers? What? Who threw that out in the garbage? Because it was weird.
Okay, during the festival, the most unrealistic scene is go.
Batman flying a jet and catching all the balloons and then flying them off into the atmosphere. And then where did they go? Did they just fly?
I wasn't going to say that.
Oh.
I thought that was awesome.
I mean, it was awesome, but not real. I don't know. What?
Joker takes out, in his comical way, his 3-foot mini, I don't even know gun terminology. So
it was in his pant leg.
The smallest gun ever, but the longest kind of, I don't know anything about guns, but I don't know what to tell you, but it's 3 feet long, it's really skinny, and Batman has a fighter jet.
He does.
A powerful, huge, probably part of his cool tech gadgets that collects the balloons, and he whips around, and then Joker just goes, pooh, and he hits it once, and the entire plane comes down. And I thought, Batman, be better.
Batman had missiles and like
he had
4 machine guns.
He had every possible defense mechanism, but a little tink, and he was a goner. And then smoke went everywhere, and he was like, oh man, Joker got me again. Just so good. And then, that's the culmination. It gets to the end, and the Joker steals Vicky, and then he takes her to the highest church building.
First of all...
Batman...
Yeah,
okay.
Well...
Are you going with where I'm going?
That's a lot of steps.
Yeah. Okay, Batman, you have all these
Was he
toys.
wearing a Fitbit? Because I'm tired.
Well, why does Batman, he flies in the beginning of the movie? He uses all the grappling hooks.
Where's the grappling hook? I know.
But then, all of a sudden, you're right, the Fitbit stair challenge of 80 flights of stairs, he goes, you know what? I'm gonna walk it.
It's not the Biggest Loser. It's gonna be okay. There's other ways we can do this.
I'm so with you. And they get to the top, and clearly Batman finally gets there.
8 years later.
And all of a sudden, the main fight scene happens.
Fight in quotation marks, because it didn't feel like a fight to me.
Wait, but what was the weirdest part?
The ninja guy.
Where did they come from?
Actually, all of the guys.
Their henchmen, was just up there chilling?
They invented teleportation and they just appeared. And the ninja guy just does backflips across the ceiling.
At first I thought it was the Joker, and I was like, damn, Jack Nicholson's got some moves.
Wait, that would have been amazing.
That's not the Joker.
That would have been amazing. I wish that was the Joker. I would have died laughing. I wish he just did backflips and just bypassed Batman and then backflipped out of the scene, and that would have been amazing. Oh my god.
It.
Oh my god.
Wait, do you remember right before that, the best quote that Joker made when he was dancing with Vicky Vale? Did you write that one down?
Gosh, probably.
Well, first of all, he does the amazing scene where he takes out the gun, puts it to his forehead, and is like, honey, I'm gonna do it! She does her scream, and it has a little flag that comes out, and it's like, boom! I was like, wow! And then he goes, honey, we're like Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh. And he goes, and if anyone calls you a beast, I'll rip their lungs out. I thought, oh my god, he's so good. Is it bad I want to hang out with the Joker?
He's
Do
so
I have
funny.
issues?
He should do stand-up comedy.
Ugh.
Wait, but about that scene, I was like, okay, Vicky, I get it. We're afraid. We're tired. We walked up 800 flights of stairs. Fine. But he's forcing you to awkwardly dance. The only gun he has, is not loaded.
Yep.
Honey, fight back. Give him a little
Respect.
kick to the crotch.
So, I'm with you. Literally, doesn't every woman know I have one move, and it's to whip ya in the pee?
Yeah.
Okay, the other thing that made me laugh in the scene is as you say, ninjas come out,
Ugh.
and every punch was like, whammo! I was like, okay, the cheesy punch noises have to go.
Maybe that's why I thought it was bad, because
it was cheesy.
I feel like all Bruce Wayne did was dodge.
It was sidekicks from his Nike boots.
And then it ended.
But, okay, you don't remember this move then, because this was his most unbelievable move of the entire movie.
What was that?
Where the one henchman gets him, and you think, oh no, he's gone where the church bells were. He's done. And he whips his feet up, takes the guy's neck, and flips him down. And I thought, is that why we had him hang upside down the other night? Is he just doing unbelievable, ab exercises?
Well, he did have thighs of steel, so maybe. Perhaps.
Okay, and then, to your point, the famous final scene, Batman uses his grappling hook to take him down. You're right. He was full of grappling hooks.
He was. But you know what? Just even thinking of the fighting in general, I wonder if I was so peeved about it because you have this whole storyline of the clear good guy and the clear bad guy. And the bad guy cannot fight.
At all.
All he had was funny one-liners, which were very funny. And I remember him saying at one point, after he was already punched in the face a bunch of times, he takes out a pair of glasses and he puts them on and he goes, you wouldn't punch a guy with glasses, would you? And then Batman punches him in the face.
Although you have to give Joker credit that he really could whip together some henchmen.
Yeah, but then you think he falls off the building.
Yes.
But then he's able to grab Batman and Vicky, two people, and yank them off.
I'm with you.
A building?
Mm-hmm.
What? That's a lot of arm strength. Like, you gotta do some push-ups for that.
I will say the final scene, which is really good, the whole gargoyle statue hooked to his leg, I thought that was really good. And the ladder, and when he falls off the building, I thought, oh, CGI failed. And then
Yeah.
he looks like he got fresh makeup when they find him on the ground.
Oh.
He's just like, you know, as happy and plump as could be, but his eyes are closed like he's dead, and you're thinking to yourself, shouldn't you have like an arm that's like, I don't know, down the street, and your leg should be twisted and you should be all bloody, and instead you just look like as fresh as ever?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting to the end.
Okay, but I had an issue with his death scene.
Oh yeah, talk to me.
Because I can suspend disbelief that he was able to grab two people and throw them off a building. It's fine. And that he somehow had the upper hand, somehow was higher up than them. Fine. But my problem was... You said it best. Goddamn grappling hooks. Like, they should have worn the bat suit. Am I right? Because...
Why wasn't the bat... First of all, why weren't the grappling hooks in a bat symbol that right there?
I don't know. Somebody's got to Photoshop that. But I didn't mind that was his demise. I didn't mind he fell to his death. My problem was the Joker didn't say anything. Wouldn't you have thought we go through this whole movie where there was amazing lines by Jack Nicholson? Amazing lines, performed amazingly, funny, crazy. And then you get to the death scene and you would think that he would say something, I don't even know, but he just fell and he had no dialogue.
Well, Batman tried to get him, right? And said, you ever dance with the devil, the pale moonlight, or whatever it was.
You know,
or the laughing. How about when he gets to the bottom?
I like that scene.
That was great.
That was a very creepy scene, and I loved that. And I loved the slow zoom in.
What would you have wanted him to say? You're the writer. You have full authority. What happens?
I think it should have been something, quote, funny.
Got killed by a bat.
Right, that would have been funny, actually. It was what it was. Although, I will say, after the whole, he died, and then it was the police finally accepted him, question mark.
Yes.
Still confused about that, but it happened. I really liked how they didn't have any dialogue between Batman and Vicky.
Thank God.
Batman's like, shh, 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 shh.
Vicky,
You just hang out with Alfred. It's gonna be okay. Like, we don't have to talk every day.
Alfred wants me to marry you. We all know Alfred.
That's not what the movie was about. So I liked how it focused more on, now there's a Batman. Now we're gonna appreciate him. We're gonna use him when we can. Here's a bat signal. And then there's Batman standing on the building in the dark. Perfect. Just perfect.
Wait a second. How do we call him? Oh, he gave us a signal.
He gave us a signal with his $800 million. Where does he get all that money? We'll never know. Anyway, let's go to Bruce Wayne's really rich party. Let's do it. So good.
Oh my God. We left no scene unturned.
We did every scene.
We really did it. It's so good. But Katie, most of your movies I kind of have a little bit of, it's a little boring, it's not my type. I was into it.
So good. So I have great news for you. It's good news. I did get a quote from Dad.
Yes!
And what's even better news is just emailed it to you. The man, the myth, the legend himself.
Katie, what?
It's a super short clip.
All right. Okay, give me a sec. Okay.
Okay. Here's Dad's quotes about Batman.
Where did she get these toys?
Is that it? Yeah. Oh, okay. That's a Joker, right? That's like, and that was it. That's it.
He's so good.
That's all he wanted to say.
He actually sounded like Jack Nicholson.
He did.
With his Brooklyn low baritone voice. Oh, Katie, great job.
I tried. Well, speaking of next movie.
Oh my god.
Okay. So you requested this movie, which was...
I did?
Amazing. You requested Batman, Bridget. We just did that. Bridget, Well, it's been 2 hours. You must remember.
So long.
Oh,
It's the longest we've ever
We
spoken.
live here now. It's okay. It's fine.
We're in the screen.
Okay, so I was thinking about what we should do. You know, there's only been 2 movies, but the 2 I requested, there was kind of younger kids in there. Not young, but like teenager-ish, young adult.
Yeah.
But I wanted to give you a drama.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna preface this because I'm like 99.9%. You've seen this movie. I really, in my heart of hearts, hope that you like this movie and you don't get angry that I suggested, because it's technically a drama. Technically. It's actually a drama thriller. And it's actually a movie that won many Oscars in 1991.
Oh my god, I think you're going where I want to go. Go.
It's a crime drama. It has an amazing female lead. We're about to watch The Silence of the Lambs.
Yes! Katie, you know I despise thrillers.
What?
Wait, no. Except for this one.
Okay.
Because I get scared in, like, the scary movies, and this is a psychological thriller.
It
You're
totally
right.
is.
Clarice Starling. I can't wait!
Clarice. He doesn't talk like that, but it's Clarice.
Oh, that's Katie. That's a great pick.
Yay!
Wow.
All right.
This is an exciting week.
Listeners better get ready. Gonna be good. That's my Hannibal voice. That's good. Well, we gotta finish up our Batman, but the best way I can think to finish this is to say,
only one way.
Bridget, thank you for recommending Batman. It was a great pick. I can't wait for next week. Batman out. Grappling hook away.
There's no other way to end that. There's no other way. Oh my god.
All right.
I bow to you. You are Queen Batman.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love you.
All right. I love you. We'll see y'all next week, listeners. Thanks for tuning in to Sisters Who've Seen It. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, among other podcasting websites. Or listen on our website at sisterswhoseenit.buzzsprout.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at Sisters Who Seen and on Instagram at Sisters Who Seen It, all spaced with underscores. See you next week.